Well, and a very good afternoon, and welcome to the is it Wednesday edition? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a Wednesday edition of the live transmission of Koikimedia. Mukiwabwakwe, 26th June 2024, as we embark again on our live broadcast. A very good afternoon and welcome once again to Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. As you're joining the broadcast, please share the program and let us invite as many of our friends and colleagues to also participate in the conversation. If you're new to the platform, that means you've never been following us, and that means that you can still learn a lot from Koikimedia. All you need to do is make sure you subscribe to all our platforms and all our channel, so that you will be able to have understanding of what this channel is all about. Every platform is different. We have so many multiple platforms on the social media, and every platform has discussion. They are religious platform, they are scientific platform, they are political platform, and there are also platforms that discuss about looking for wife or how to travel into countries around the world. But on this particular channel, the only thing that we focus on is known as self-determination. And under the United Nations General Assembly, self-determination is known as what we can call the inalienable right of people that wants to be free. Not everybody wants to be free. We have people that prefer to be left alone in whatever bondage that they found themselves. But for some of us that knows what freedom is all about, it is important that we educate as many of Nigerians that probably do not understand what freedom is all about. So this afternoon, I've picked on a couple of topics that I thought we should discuss, because the more we have this discussion, the more it is in the interest of everybody, especially if we do not want crisis in the near future of what is known as Nigeria. You don't literally have to agree with me. But one thing I've now been able to understand is that human beings might not even know the meaning of freedom. You might have been born in Nigeria, but the question is, are you free? Do you have your freedom? So, what I'll be discussing this afternoon, it's all about our freedom out of the contraction put together by the British in 1914 fraudulent amalgamation. So Yoruba Nation is the point of conversation. In case you want to know more about Yoruba Nation, it's very, very easy. All you need to do is visit either my website, www.koikimedia.com, where you will find all the necessary information on the self-determination campaign. You can also check the YSDM website that also has a lot of information helps you to understand what self-determination is all about. Nobody's going to beg you to join a Yoruba Nation movement since you have political parties in Nigeria. And if you think that the political party are much more better than movement like these, you have every right to join APC and be their community or leaders or whatever. You also have the right to go and join PDP or AAC or Labour Party. But if you want to be part of this movement, I am not talking about other fractions, because we have different fractions of people that are now also claiming to be leaders of Yoruba Nation. But if you truly, truly want to be part of this Yoruba Nation campaign, you would then want to follow the true leader, which is Professor Adebanji Akintoye, the leader of the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement. And under him as well, we have Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igbowosha, and we have the YSDM, also known as the Yoruba Self-Determination Movement. So all these are the template for the Yoruba Nation conversation. A Yoruba Nation is not a political party. It is known as a movement. And when we talk about what is a movement, from the dictionary, a movement is something that is moving, and it keeps moving and moving and moving. How long it moves depends on how soon you want the movement to become reality. Many Yoruba people today do not understand the meaning of movement. So your expectation probably some 3 years ago is that, yes, this movement should have brought in the freedom that we are all emphasizing. The movement should have given us what we want. But we do know that not everybody wanted what we all want, which is a Yoruba Nation country. So my question is, when are we going to be free? It's a very, very big question. Níjọ́ wo ni a máa gba ara wa sílẹ̀? Just for the Yoruba audience, because not everybody understand English. When are we going to be free? It's a question that could be divided into multiple different areas. And when are you going to be free will be whether you want to be free. I mean, I am asking a question. When are we going to be free? That will be when we want freedom from our enemies. Hello? Yeah, I did, yes. I was trying to figure out, when the membership card will be sent back to me, because I've already made a payment. Give me a few minutes. Let me just bring that up in a minute. Mr. OLAYOMI Koiki.
Thinking about how we've been having this conversation about the unity of Nigeria. And I reflect back at some of the prominent statements made by some of our founding leaders Nigeria is not a nation. It's a mere geographical expression. There are no Nigerians in the same sense as there are English, Welsh, or French. The word Nigerian is merely a distinctive appellation to distinguish those who live within the boundaries of Nigeria from those who do not. This is accredited to Chief Obafemi Awolowo, the former Prime Minister of the Western region. The second one, and I quote, "It is true that we politicians always delight in talking loosely about the unity of Nigeria. 60 years ago, there was no country called Nigeria. What is now Nigeria consisted of several large and small communities, all of which were different in their outlooks and beliefs. The advent of the British and that of Western education has not materially altered the situation, and in many and varied communities have not knit themselves into a composite unit." This is accredited to Sir Amado Bello, former Premier of Northern Region. He thought, and I quote, "Since 1914, the British government has been trying to make Nigeria into one country, but the Nigerian people themselves are historically different in their backgrounds, in their religious beliefs and customs, and do not show themselves any sign of willingness to unite. The Nigerian unity is only a British intention for the country." This is
Now well, it was sent by email. I wouldn't know which email address.
Which is it for you, Dr. Badaya? Do you think the government is unwilling or unable to protect the people of Southern Kaduna?
In fact, it is not only unable, it is unwilling, and we have good reason to feel that they are part and parcel of the killers. Let me make some revelations to you.
That's a very big allegation, Dr. Obadiah. The government is part and parcel of the killers.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes. Now, okay, how will the government just say, "Oh, it is revenge killing," and so on? Then you leave it there. Oh, because it is revenge killing and so on and so forth. The body language of this administration, the body language of the state government shows clearly that they have a hand in the killings. No doubt about it. Because, you see, General Abacha, and people don't give him his due. Do you think you would have tolerated such nonsense? And let me make some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. One or two who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They are already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They are everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2
Well, sorry for that little bit of, disruption there in the broadcast. The call was urgent and I had to deal with it. So we are back into the discussion, and then I'm going to go straight into the anthem, then we kickstart the program. Mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé a tún káàbọ̀ padà sí orí ìkànnì Koikimedia, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. The self-determination platform, and likewise the platform that remind us about the atrocities and the crime against humanity committed by the federal government of Nigeria in the last 63 years for the Yoruba people and as many people as well. Let me remind us that, like I said, this generation is a complete different generation from the one that you've seen in the past. Every generation are all different. So if some of you probably might not understand what is pushing this movement, it is because this generation is just different from the previous generation. Let me take you back to this particular one, then I'm going to set up the last platform, then we can go slowly into the discussion. If you're new to the platform, follow, share, and make sure that you comment as well.
After 1960.
Since 1960,
Yoruba they head the port authority.
Yoruba child has never ended the NPA, never.
Yoruba they head the custom.
And Yoruba child has never been the one to head custom
Or
immigration. You find all these people. They even went to the markets in Ibadan and stole their rice in the night. Should we allow this to continue? Never.
Lamentation chapter 5.
Remember, O Lord, what has come upon us. Look and behold our reproach.
Verse 2.
Our inheritance has been turned over to aliens, and our houses to foreigners. Your senior brother in Lagos went to the north to share rice. Your uncle. He went to north to share. Why? Your uncle went to share rice in the north. Yoruba land, we gave our inheritance to the strangers. Who named our airport? Who named it?
Capital
there. They ravished the women in Zion.
They raped.
Ravished.
They raped our women. Verse 12.
Our prince are being hung by their tongues. Our kings now, they have surrendered. They can't do anything. láti 1979 tí mo ti ń gbàdúrà fún Nàìjíríà mi ò tí ì gbàdúrà fún ilẹ̀ Yorùbá rí àfọ̀ní.
1979 I've been praying for Nigeria. I've never prayed for Yoruba land except today.
Gbogbo àdúrà mi ń sin ilẹ̀ Yorùbá mo fẹ́ dojú
I
ẹ̀.
begin to direct my prayer to Yoruba land now.
Verse 13.
Ẹsẹ̀ kẹtàlá.
Àwọn ọ̀dọ́mọkùnrin ń ru ọlọ.
Young men had led the way to work at milestones.
Gbogbo àwọn ọmọ wa ti di area boys tán.
All our boys
Wọ́n di ọlọ́kadà.
hoodlums.
Adé ṣubú kúrò lórí wa.
The crown has fallen from our heads.
Sádé ò ṣubú kúrò lórí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Has the crown not fallen away from many Yoruba kings?
Tẹ bá rí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá tó ṣe ń ṣiṣẹ́ jìyà lókè òkun.
If you see the way Yoruba children are walking abroad
Tẹ
softly,
bá rí wọn ní Dubai.
if you see them in Dubai,
Tayọ̀tayọ̀ la fi ń fẹsẹ̀ rìn gba desert.
with joy, we journey through the desert.
Ẹ wo bí tílẹ̀ wa dé dúró.
Look at-
Ẹ̀yin bàbá wa nínú ìgbàgbọ́ ẹ sọ̀rọ̀ sókè.
Look at where we are, our fathers in faith. Speak out, oh.
Bẹ́ẹ̀ bá dákẹ́.
If you keep quiet,
Ọlọ́run á béèrè ẹ̀jẹ̀ lẹ́yìn
God
Ọlọ́run.
will ask of the blood on you.
Ẹ má rò pé ẹ máa save pẹ̀lú àwọn security tó ń sọ.
Don't think you will be safe with all this your protocol and
Bẹ́ẹ̀
security.
bá kígbe àdúrà lórí ilẹ̀
You
Yorùbá.
don't shout and pray at this particular time.
Tá a bá gbàdúrà ohun tó ń bọ̀ burú o.
If we fail to pray, what is coming is dangerous.
That was not a new video. That is Prophet Pastor. No, I'll remember his name now. Adepoju. That was just few more years before Tinubu became the president. Many of them have been speaking the truth, but a lot of us do not want the truth to be told. So, just before the call that interrupted my discussion, let me welcome everybody. I'm not going to be mentioning names because I haven't got the time for that. We're very, very serious. This is not a platform for joking, but we appreciate every single one of you as you're coming in. Share the program and keep the comment floating, and I might pick along the line. I asked the question, when are we going to be free? Somebody will ask you the same question. Mokiba Balikiti, when are we going to be free? Níjọ́ wo gan ni a fẹ́ gba ara wa sílẹ̀? In tó ń pè ní free nìyẹn. I believe I'm right. Lédè Yorùbá. When are we going to be free? With a question mark. Because freedom is something that is lovely. I made a call this morning to one of my agency, and they've returned the call back. Níjọ́ wo gan la fẹ́ gbara wa sílẹ̀? When are we going to be free? That would be when we want freedom from our enemies in Yoruba land now. Ní ìgbà tí a bá gbéra pé ká gbara wa sílẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ àwọn ọ̀tá ilẹ̀ Yorùbá. That is the first topic from the Koikimedia. Then I now decided to use a different topic on the backup channel of the Koikimedia WD76 Media. Do you, I need to edit that. Do you want freedom? That needs to be edited. I need to do that quickly. Do you want freedom? Ǹjẹ́ o fẹ́ òmìnira? I want you to listen carefully. Do you want freedom? Ǹjẹ́ o fẹ́ òmìnira? Do you? Ìwọ, Ọláyọmí Kóìkì, Bàbá Èkìtì, Olóyè Ìgbòho, Azeez Bádéṣeré, Samjo Beauty, gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà lórí ètò. Do you want freedom? Ǹjẹ́ o fẹ́ òmìnira? Do you, ìwọ tó ń gbọ́ mi. I want freedom. But do you want freedom? Mark Stephen, do you want freedom? Olatunji Table, do you want freedom? Taiwo Alabi, do you want freedom? Olakayode, do you want freedom? Babawa Aderibigbe Adejuwon, do you want freedom? Ǹjẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ òmìnira? Prince Bamidele Olawole. Moses Bimbola, ǹjẹ́ o fẹ́ òmìnira? Ijaya, do you want freedom? I can see many of you are saying yes. So we all want freedom. What are you going to sacrifice to get it? Kí ló máa fi sílẹ̀? I am not talking about blood covenant here now. Kí ló máa fi sílẹ̀ láti fi gba òmìnira? Do you want freedom? Yemi Fatoki. Do you want freedom? Chief Dr. Sunday Omadeyemo Igboho-Osha. Do you want freedom? Professor Adebanji Akintoye. Do you want freedom? Ìyá tó bí mi lọ́mọ. Do you want freedom? Ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ nínú Nàìjíríà. Do you want freedom? So, if you want freedom, Sanjo Beauty ní kò ń ṣòun nìkan lòun fẹ́ freedom, òun fẹ́ fáwọn family òun. What are you going to sacrifice? What are you going to sacrifice? What are you going to sacrifice to get that freedom? What are you going to sacrifice? Má bínú, mo kàn rí pé mo kàn rí panel tó ń show, mo wonder pé ṣebí mo fi beautiful flag wá sí ẹ̀yìn. And stop complaining about the flag, because the flag is just temporarily. Focus about the freedom. Forget about the flag. Forget about the emblem. The anthem is okay. Forget about the name, Oduduwa Republic, Yoruba. No. Do you want freedom? Now, what are you going to sacrifice to get that freedom? Kí ló máa ṣe tí freedom yẹn tó máa fi wá? What are you going to do? What are you going to do? This is what I know what to do best. Don't worry about my face moving from point A to B. Right now, I have one mobile phone here on the YouTube, Koikimedia. I have one mobile phone there, Twitter Space. I have one mobile phone there, Koiki Instagram. One mobile phone there, Koiki Olayomi Instagram. One mobile phone there, WD76 Media. One mobile phone there, Koikimedia Live on Twitter. One laptop there, Koiki Oduduwa. One laptop there, Koikimedia, and our powerful machine, Alienware, which I am using as the guide. So right as I speak to you with my 66 or 60-inch TV right in front of me, that I can pick as many of your comments and I can react to it as I wish to. Let's go back again. Do you want freedom? What are you going to do to get it? ASAP, Yoruba Nation, wake up. But it seems that Yoruba people are not waking up. They're sleeping. That's the fact. Everybody's sleeping because most of you are scared. You are concerned. You're worried. And that means you will not get your freedom. The more you are scared, you will not achieve that freedom. That is the final part of it. FEAR. It is not about saying it. It is not about typing it. It's about, are you ready to sacrifice to get that freedom? I'm going somewhere. Mo ń lọ bìkan ni, mo fẹ́ gbé yín débẹ̀ díẹ̀. And please don't ever tell me to speak Yoruba alone. I am not communicating to you alone. I am communicating to the global world. A very, very important world that we live today. But I love Yoruba. My Yoruba might not be perfect, but I'm trying as much as possible to make sure it goes in line with the discussion. Everybody wants freedom. But what are you going to sacrifice so that that freedom would eventually become reality, what are you going to sacrifice? Koiki mo lówó, mo kódà 10 naira tán ní ká dá yẹn gan mo ní. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ̀ ń pè wá. The last person that I spoke to before coming live was from Dublin. Ẹ wá program ẹ̀ sí níbẹ̀ nísìn, ẹ tún wò ní, ẹ ṣe pé ẹ tẹ̀ ń pè wá pé ẹ fún wa ní ibi tí wọ́n ní ká lọ máa sanwó sí. Ẹ mọ̀ra yín láti Dublin. Mo kí yín pé ṣe gan ni. Ẹlòmíì látijọ́ tó ti ní kó dá 10. As far as they're concerned, kò sí tó kàn wọ́n pẹ̀lú yẹn, but they want freedom. And please don't make it look like ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà Nàìjíríà iṣẹ́ yẹn ló wá mú yín débi pé 10 naira ẹ̀ lè san sínú àkáǹtì yẹn. Kò ń ṣe 100 naira lọ́ní kẹsàn-án o. Kò ń ṣe 20 naira, 10 naira. Ẹni tó wà labroad tó ń pa 11 pounds an hour kò ready láti sacrifice 10 pounds out of it. Ẹni tó wà l'America ready láti sacrifice $10. Ẹni tó wà ní Canada ready láti sacrifice $10 Canadian. Ẹni tó wà ní African country kò ready láti sacrifice. Nobody wants to sacrifice money to achieve the goals of the freedom. But I said, pariwo freedom, you see, everybody has said, yes, I want freedom. But the question is, how are you going to get that freedom? Or no, to get the freedom here. I wanted to show us something, but I wanted to print something out, but I can still manage around it, if anything. Many of us want Yoruba Nation ASAP. Oh yes. But it is not going to come ASAP, but it is already in the transition. It is already moving. It is already moving, whether on the 3rd gear, the 4th gear, or sometimes we could just slow it down a little bit for whatever reason. But one thing is, the argument out there today is that Yoruba Nation is not dead. Regardless of whoever you're listening to or whatever you are being told. Because those that knows that the movement is still much alive knows. For as long as we are coming out every day to have awareness, the movement is still much alive. I'm going to take you to a fast-moving development, because this is the only platform that takes you to the international side of what is happening that reflect to the discussion of Yoruba Nation. Platform in I can boast about it because I know what I'm talking about. There is a fast-moving development right now, as of today. And that fast-moving development is the reason why I've asked, do we want to be free? Do we want freedom? Or akonfenusolason? I can now officially, and I believe one day, that is determined by you and me, if we want Yoruba Nation now, or we want it a little bit longer. It will all depend on me and you to make that achievement become reality. If we are not ready it is not going to stop Yoruba nation. It will just slow it down, and then it will keep moving as a moving train. I can officially tell us that freedom was given to someone at a very high cost. Is not our own father, even though both of them have also paid a very, very high costly price to get us to where we are today. But whether we all want now to support them to the next stage for the freedom is entirely up to us. Bóyá a fẹ́ gba òmìnira kúrò nínú Nàìjíríà látara ìtàwọn eléyìí ti ṣe. Some might tell you that they've already been paid, and that is why things are not moving the way it's meant to be. I've even been hearing that ṣèbí wọ́n ti sanwó fún Ìgbòho, àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ti tọ́jú Ìgbòho, so òkú tó kú sílé ẹ jẹ́ ká. I am not making this up. This is what people are saying. Pé ṣèbí àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá ti sanwó fún Ìgbòho náà àti tọ́jú ẹ̀, so àwọn méjì tó pa sínú ilé ẹ̀ is more than enough for him to keep short. Ṣèbí ti tún lé ẹ̀ ṣe. This is what people are saying. But we come back to that later. But right as at today, as I'm speaking to you right now, freedom eventually got to someone. I just want to get the time. Right now, at this particular time, ní London tèmi wà, ní ibi tá à ń pè ní England, United Kingdom, the time is exactly 15 minutes to 1 p.m. Normally, I will be saying 12:45, but it's exactly coming up to 1 p.m. I go Koikimedia. But somewhere far all the way in Australia, it is coming up to 15 minutes to 10 p.m. So you can see that the world is a beautiful place that has different time zones and different things entail inside it, just like Yoruba plays. But unfortunately, the Yoruba people are all in bondage and they don't want freedom. None of you want freedom. Most of you don't even want the freedom at all. But in Australia today, there is a cry of joy that is taking place as I speak to you right now. You might be wondering, what has Australia got to do with the discussion here? I can officially confirm with this voice to start with. Listen, if you're smart enough, you might pick his name. Then I'm going to come back and discuss. Just listen. You don't have to see the video, but listen.
Sorry, Jeremy, I need to interrupt you. We now have five things Julian stepping out of the plane in Canberra.
Oh, please, let's see it.
Oh, it's such a...
Well done,
he's walking on the tarmac. I don't know, he's waving to the crowd. It's such a joyous moment. I'm not sure you can see it, but you know, believe me, it's such an emotional moment. He is looking so great. It's just.
I saw pictures of me. He looked a lot better than last time I saw him.
Well, if you think that I have maybe backtracked a few years, I can tell you that he's looking a lot better than inside that prison. It's such a great moment. He's clenching his fists and waving to the crowd. What a great moment in history to witness and be a part of it, Jeremy. And thank you. I mean, we should all be.
I'm just getting it on my phone now. Wow.
He is meeting Stella now. Oh my God. Kissing Stella. You know, this is, my God. And John Shipton is there, his father, you know, reuniting with the family. What a great moment, Jeremy, to be watching this. This is something we've been fighting for, waiting for. Absolutely fantastic. It is, it's, oh my God, it's hard not to be emotional under these circumstances. Jeremy, I hope you appreciate that. Absolutely. It's been something we've been...
That is a man known as Julian Assange. Who is he? And why is it so important that the whole world is shutting down for him, as the world on the other side in Nigeria you think is shutting down for you, where you are not free? The world today focus in the last 72 hours of a young, vibrant, energetic individual that wanted everybody to have at least maximum freedom. Whether the one that you were celebrating yesterday was more than enough to give you the freedom is entirely up to you. Who is Julian Assange? And what has been the cost of him retaining, gaining his freedom? What has been the cost? Where do we start from? 1,902 days Julian Assange was locked away. 1,902 days he was locked away. Julian Assange. Many of you will never know him because you are too busy in that contraction. Julian Paul Assange is an Australian editor, publisher, and the most important thing that represents both of us up to what I have read so far is also an activist. So literally, we are almost on the same path. The only difference is he is older than me. He was born on the 3rd of July 1971, just so many years before I was born. He was born somewhere in Townsville City in Australia. He's a publisher, activist, who founded WikiLeaks in 2006. 4 years after that, he was already thrown into international attention in 2010 after WikiLeaks published a series of leaks from the US Army. I am just telling you all these because some of you must prepare your mind whether you want freedom or not, because it will not come with a silver spoon. Julian Assange was probably not known as much as how he became popular. Just like many of us knew Igboho was there, but it was not as popular as what he is today. But the same Yoruba people around the world are against Igboho because he's asking for the freedom of his people. The same goes with Professor Banji Akintoye, and the same goes back to Koikimedia, a Yoruba man born in Nigeria, an editor. I am not yet a publisher, but an activist. Well, I do publish a few things online, on my blog. And also the founder of Koikimedia, just about some 5-10 years ago. I was there within the community, the Nigerian community, but I was not as popular as up to now. The reason why you are all against me in Nigeria is because I am speaking the truth. That's all. The reason why those of you in Nigeria that I'm pointing my finger to is because this platform is speaking the truth that it is time that we achieve our freedom. And that is not something that is new, because there have always been people that will be against you. But one thing that stands out of all this is that Julian Assange got stuck between the most powerful country in the world. Listen to this very well. Julian Paul Assange stood his ground powerfully against the United States of America. It has cost him a lot. It has cost him a lot. But he stood with just one thing, the truth, and nothing but the truth. How many of you will stand the test of time all the way through for the truth and nothing but the truth? Some of you will give up along the line because you are ready to compromise for peanuts. You are ready to sell out because for you, that is the only way you can make quick buck. But that was not Julian Assange. Julian Assange did not sell off, even though he could have. Even though he would have made buck a lot of money, but he did not. That is what has made him the hero today. So when you're looking for someone that is an hero, go and study Julian Assange, that stood against every goddamn thing. And I told you, I will be your last man standing on this movement. We will deal with the government, with creating the perfect awareness to bring our people out of the bondage. It will take my time and it will cost a lot. But one thing you need to understand is nobody is going to give you a freedom. Julian Assange has now paid a heavy price. He was locked away for 1,902 days. Multiply whatever that means in the years and months in a highly secured Belmarsh prison here in London. But as I speak to us right now today, he has touched back in his hometown in Australia as a free man. You will never be free if you are not ready to take away your fear. Ní ever gba òmìnira tí ẹ bá kó ìjayà kúrò lára yín. You will remain in the bondage for the rest of your life. And that's a fact. Because who and those you're waiting for to come and liberate and free you from the western side of the world will not free you. But if we are all determined, if we are all ready, if we are all saying the same thing under one umbrella of Professor Adebanji Akintoye, we will pull down Nigeria without America doing any jack shit. Julian Assange, with many millions of people, stood with him, rallied around him, protected him, make sure that he would not be able to be taken away to America. He's got his freedom as of today. It was a battle between Julian Assange and the United States of America. Listen to me again. It was a battle, ìjà gidi láàrin òun àti America. So I'm asking you, what makes you think that we cannot win this battle with the puppet Nigeria that doesn't have what it takes, that some of you think it has it? But it will only be subjected to whether you want freedom. If you don't want freedom, you will not be liberated and you will not have peace. Julian Assange finally regained his freedom. But it has come with heavy price. Heavy price. That is the price that journalism is all about. It will come with heavy price. But what he has done, he has given people like us hope that he did not sell out. Because if he has sold out, it will have been highly disappointed for some of us that were following him behind the scene as a colleagues in the same field. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ yín rò pé òmìnira máa bá yín nínú yàrá yín tí ẹ fi ṣe ìgbìyànjú kankan. He was able to defeat the mighty America. Do you understand what that means? Kódà, up to the last minute, no one in the America, but the plea bargain will be sorted out in Sapien, which is about almost 6,000 miles away to America, even though that is the closest U.S. territory. Some of you are seeing Nigeria as one big country that has what it takes to take us all out. It's because the fear in you is the reason why. Some of you are more worried about your own family rather than worry about what you are ready to sacrifice so that Yoruba people can be free. You're more concerned. Every day that I speak in my house, my wife is listening and my children, and I've made it known to her that at the appropriate time, I will be on the ground to be part of those that will be counted as people, not as those that will lock themselves away while our people are now in danger. We've never been in the danger as we are seeing it today, right inside our faces, and we are all keeping quiet until we all rise up together. You will not be free. You will not be free. But Julian Assange has proven beyond reasonable doubt that we still have capable and truthful people that can protect humanity. He fought hard for it. It cost him a lot. But eventually, today, the 26th day of the month of June, according to the court paper coming from Sapien, which is a U.S. territory, Julian Paul Assange is now a free man. Only ever free if you keep your fear in your pants. You would remove that fear for every one of us to be free. Nobody is coming to rescue anybody. We are all in this together. Whether diaspora, whether those of you on the ground, every one of us is involved. The truth is bitter. But that is a fact. Òtítọ́ korò. Let me take you up to speed. And I'll be going straight from their main page known as WikiLeaks on the X, also known as Twitter. "11 minutes ago, the wife of Julian Assange, Stella Assange. I hope journalists and editors and publishers everywhere, including myself, they're talking to me. They're passing a message to me. Because the message that they're passing to me will keep me and you to hold on to the truth of the power that Yoruba nation is to go out of Nigeria. I am not talking about your corrupt brown envelope media in Nigeria that have all become biased, that they can see the truth and they can run away and tell you, no, that is not the truth, especially when those that are committing crime on a daily basis in terms of your corrupt politicians are left alone, but they're going after the minors. Let's go again. 11 minutes ago on WikiLeaks, Stella Assange, that is the wife, Julian Assange, as of the time in 2014, 2012, for over 2 years, it was locked in the Ecuadorian embassy here in London. It could not come out of that embassy for 2 years. And from 2014, it was moved into a confinery, Belmarsh high-end security in London. The wife eventually was going into that embassy. They had children. The wife is now speaking from Australia. I hope journalists and editors and publishers everywhere realize the danger of the U.S. case against Julian that criminalized, that has secured a conviction for news gathering and publishing information that was true, that the public deserve to know. I'll be telling you more about what that contains. That precedent now can and will be used in the future against the rest of the press. So it is in the interest of all the press to seek for this current state of affairs to change through the reform of the Espionage Act, through increased press protections, and yes, eventually, when the time comes, not today, a pardon. In tó ṣàlàyé ni pé wá tá ń béèrè fún ẹ̀tọ́ wa látara ìyà tí Nàìjíríà ti fi jẹ wá láti ọdún tó pẹ́, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ àwọn èèyàn that are meant to be part of this push, they are not doing it because they are part of the wealthy people, our elite, the learned, and those that are probably not understanding what it's all about. But what I can tell you, the cost of what Julian Assange have gone through can never be underestimated. And I'm going to be reading a lot from their Twitter handle, also known as X. This is another one. We should never underestimate the power of the people. A team of power of the people. That is why the government thinks that they have the power against we, the citizen. Níjọ́ tá bá ti sọ fún wọn pé àwa la ní power yẹn, then we will all be respected. But for now, none of you want freedom. None of you want freedom. Because the government knows the power of the people. But the people doesn't know the power that they have. The day that we know the power in our hands, that will be the day Nigeria will finally collapse. But we don't know the power that we have. All we know is chit chat. Because mọ agbára tó wà lọ́wọ́ wa. Tá bá mọ agbára tó ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ wa, we would do away with Nigeria today. So according to WikiLeaks editor-in-chief Winston Arson said, and I quote, "We should never magba fún wọn, no grief for anybody, underestimate the power, the fist, the power is not by gun, it's not by bullet, it's the power that is built inside every single one of us. But some of you do not understand where that power is. But it is right there in you. It is built in. This is not about a threat. It is just that it is exactly what it says. We should never underestimate the power of the people to come together to make history. History la fẹ́ make about by Yoruba nation. You are not ready for the freedom. It is sodi awada keri, including myself. Because if we are ready, we would all be determined that that push will collapse Nigeria and America will not be able to rescue Nigeria. Just as they were unable to get Julian Assange to United States of America because he was going to be going to a prison to buy Pogbudibe. It involves a lot. Negotiation was in played part as well. Diplomacy was played. Dialogue was played. Dialogue with Tinubu. We would dialogue with him until he refused to accept our negotiation and our dialogue. And then we will show him the power of the people known as Yoruba people. The power of the people. I will be coming down. I promise you that. I am not speaking on behalf of anybody. I will be on the ground when we are all ready. It's called the power of the people. But we are all being distracted with things that has nothing to do with our freedom, when we should all tell them that you will not enjoy it. We will pull everything down. The day that they know that nobody will enjoy it anymore, whatever that means to you, we will pull every goddamn thing down. We will pull it down. The power of the people can never be underestimated. But we are more concerned about our family. We are more concerned about ourselves than the bigger picture of the power of the people. We just want to be coming here, Kamasoro, Meji Meta, which is good because it prepares us. Ori social media kọ́ láti máa gba Yorùbá nation. Yorùbá nation, inú ilẹ̀ Yorùbá láti máa gbà. And everybody knows that. How it is going to happen, it will be every single one of us. Let's go back into the discussion. We should never underestimate the power of the people to come together to make history. My gratitude is towards you. You can move mountain. WikiLeaks editor-in-chief. Do we want to move the mountain? Or we just want to keep that mountain there for as much time as we can? But we will all still face the consequence, whether through the economy of Nigeria, the insecurity, whatever is happening around you as diaspora or those at home. It is because of our consequence not to understand the power of the people. And the government in Africa knows that. But what they're good at is to make sure that you are not speaking the same languages and distract you from the discussion. The power of the people is important. Let's go further. Two hours ago, as the aircraft, that is something I want you to remember, to take away as well. The touchdown of Julian Assange didn't come cheap. He left Stansted Airport straight to I remember the country that they had a refuel, getting close to Sapien, the US territory, where he was able to play bargain, then continue the journey back to Australia. But that did not come easy. It was with dialogue, negotiation. But something unique also popped up, because this particular case is exactly whether Emma Agba Yoruba Nation, Enigba Yoruba Nation, that is entirely up to every one of us. Láti lọ múra sílẹ̀ pé a fẹ́ gba Yoruba Nation. The touchdown, after enduring nearly 14 years, was suffering pé the British kept me inside this country for 15 good years. Mo rí kankan ju inú ìlú tí mo wà yìí lọ. 15 years. I could not go on the plane. You might say, ṣebí wọ́n ló gbé rẹ lọ síbẹ̀. It's understandable. 14 years of arbitrary detention in the UK, and the 5 years he spent in a maximum security prison for his groundbreaking publishing work with WikiLeaks. Julian Assange has finally arrived home on the Australian soil. That is a sacrifice that some of us doesn't want to do, but affected by Yoruba Nation. Taba ma gba Yoruba Nation. a ti ṣe 63 years nínú Nigeria. Let's pull it down together and free ourselves from intonpeni British Empire, British trade route, the British Extension Company. Okay, gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí.
Wọ́n ní mi síjọba mò ń lọ ń dá sí nǹkan tí ó kàn mí ṣùgbọ́n tó kàn mí mo dá sí lórí pọ́nmọ Yorùbá ni mí. Níjọba bá wà tí ò sí ẹ̀tọ́ tó yẹ kó ṣe fún aráàlú tí wọ́n dìbò fún tó jẹ́ ìjọba lé lórí. Tíjọba bá wà tí ààbò bá sí fún aráàlú tó rí òṣèjọba lé lórí aráàlú dìde fúnra ẹ̀.
Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa, ìkànnì Koikimedia, níbi tí a ti ń gbé ọ̀rọ̀ tá à ń gbé yẹ̀wò ní ọ̀sán yìí ní aago kan àbọ̀fẹ́ lọ lù láti dára wa lẹ́kọ̀ọ́, láti béèrè lọ́wọ́ ara wa ká tẹra wa nínú pé ǹjẹ́ lótìtọ́ ni a fi gbára wa sílẹ̀ àbí àkànṣeré ni. À ń sọ̀rọ̀ nípa arákùnrin kan tó ń pè ní Julian Paul Assange. Ní 14 years nínú ayé tó ti gbé láti ọmọdún 1971, 14 years ó há sínú UK kò lè jáde. Kí ló fà á? Kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀? Kí ló ṣe? Ẹ̀ṣẹ̀ wo ló ṣe? Ṣó fàdíyà ni? Ṣó pààyàn ni? Ṣó jalè ni? No. Ó gbé òtítọ́ dání. Àmọ́ àwọn ìjọba ayé ló ń bájà, àbí ìjọba ayé ló ń bájà tó ń pè ní Amẹ́ríkà. Amẹ́ríkà sọ pé Julian Assange, àwọn àṣírí kan wà tí ó tú síta. Àwọn àṣírí yẹn ó máa bà Amẹ́ríkà jẹ́ nípa ètò ààbò. Julian Assange ní in tí mo gbé síta yẹn in tó yẹ kí gbogbo aráàlú mọ̀ ní. In tó ṣe ṣẹlẹ̀ nínú Yorùbá nation nìyẹn. Bá ṣe ń gbòtítọ́ síta, ìjọba àwọn olórí burúkú gọ́vnà yín látòkè délẹ̀ wọ́n sọ fún yín pé àwọn condemn bàbá àti ìyá wọn nínú Yorùbá nation. Torí bàbá àti ìyá wọn ló ń condemn. Torí pé táwọn bá ní làákàyè ni, ṣé bàbá wọn, ṣé bàbá Sanwó-Olú àbí bàbá Dàpọ̀ Abíọ́dún ó wà láyé ó ti kú ni? Ṣé bàbá wọn ló dá Nàìjíríà sílẹ̀? Ṣé bàbá Ṣèyí Mákindé àti ìyá ẹ̀ ló dá Nàìjíríà sílẹ̀? Àwọn olórí burúkú tó ní ṣoríire wọn náà wọn kọ̀ǹdẹ́mù tí bàbá àti ìyá wọn tí kò dá sílẹ̀. Ẹ béèrè lọ́wọ́ àwọn tó ń bẹ lẹ́kìtì tó jẹ́ gọ́vnà àti Ondo State àti Ọ̀ṣun Adélékè pé ṣé ìyá wọn ló dá Nàìjíríà sílẹ̀ tó wá náà wọn kọ̀ǹdẹ́mù wa. The power of the people bá tó àsìkò àmọ́ tá a máa ṣe. 14 years ni wọ́n fi lọ́ọ̀kì Julian Assange sínú UK because n tó sọ síta bẹ́ẹ̀mi náà ṣe ń sọ nísìn lọ́kàn yín ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ṣe nífẹ̀ẹ́ sáwọn olórí burúkú yẹn ọ̀rọ̀ tó ti pọ̀ jù ni. Ó bá má sọ̀rọ̀ sí wọn bẹ́ẹ̀ àbí torí pé ẹ fẹ́ràn òtítọ́. Ẹni bá ń sọ òtítọ́ yẹn òun lọ̀tá yín. Òun lẹ̀ ń rí gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọ̀tá yín. You see me as your enemy, but those criminals that have hold us back for 5 years of democracy, rí kankan ṣe fún wọn. That is the sacrifice Julian Assange paid for bringing the truth of the crime against humanity that American government was committing. So, ìwọ tó wà Nigeria, I keep wondering if America is committing such enormous crime against humanity. Only imagine what Nigeria is creating on a daily basis. Ẹ máa kú lójoojúmọ́ until you say you want freedom. Most of you will die. ẹ máa kú ni. Until we say enough is enough, we can protect people that are dying on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway for 20 years. Olórí burúkú Ọbásanjọ́ ò rí ṣe. Bomb bastard, every single one of them. For 20 years, Lagos-Ibadan Expressway is still taking life because you love your contractions. So don't come and say, oh no, no, you will die. If you don't die, the next person will die. As at before I came online, UCH, go there and tell me if they have a light in that shithole hospital that should have been destroyed. We can build a standard UCH with 24 hours power supply and people that will be working in there. But Olórí Burúkú Ṣèyí Mákindé is coming to tell us and will condemn Yorùbá nation. But bàbá àti ìyá ẹ̀ wọ́n rí pé UCH hospital as of today somebody tó lọ gba treatment níbẹ̀ ó ní Mr. Koiki mo ní kó get kó send video sí mi ó ní kò sómi tó máa fi fọwọ́ iná òsì inside University College Hospital Ibadan, and you say you will not die. If you don't die, what about those that are dying inside that hospital? Are they not human beings like you and me? So when I say that I'm Judge Alminira, I am not fighting for you alone, I am fighting for everybody. So pray that you will not die, but what about those that are dying for the negligence of the bastard governors and politicians in Yoruba land that have kept us backwards? So the price of freedom is what we are talking about. Àti fi gbara yín sílẹ̀, it's gonna cost a lot. After enduring nearly 14 years, can you watching me right now? Are you ready to sacrifice 14 years of your life for freedom? We've only done 4 years fighting back to back, preparing the ground so that we can exit that shithole. In between that, do you know how many obstacles have been thrown at us so that we do not arrive in that final destination as Julian Assange has finally touched down in his hometown after nearly over 2 decades. For 2 decades, Julian Assange was locked away because ó sọ òtítọ́, ó gbé ọ̀rọ̀ òtítọ́ jáde pé America committed crime and this crime is evidence-based. Evidence lele is known as WikiLeaks in 2010. That is exactly why some of you today are running helter skelter, because you think that you can pull down the Yoruba Nation movement. But ti gbàgbé pé Ọlọ́run ló ní àjò yìí, ìrìn àjò tá à ń rìn kò ń ṣe Koikimedia. Ó wà lọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run, òun ló ń rìn, òun ló ń gbé dúró, kò lè sẹ́ni kankan tó lè dá dúró. Ntí ọbẹ̀ Elédùmarè bá gbé dání kò sọ́ba náà tó lè gbé wálẹ̀. What God cannot do does not exist. Kò ní dá fún gbogbo yín. That you still say we should save Nigeria. Julian Assange spent 14 years of his life in the UK. Do you know how many birthdays he missed of his father? Bàbá ẹ̀ ṣì wà láyé. Bàbá àwọn olórí burúkú governor yín àti tó wà láyé àti tó ti kú. Rather than them saying that Yoruba nation náà ọ̀nà àbáyọ, wọn náà wọ́n protect Nigeria, kò ní dá fún gbogbo àwọn governors yìí wọ́n ní ṣoríire. Bulletproof car tó wà nínú ẹ̀yẹn Ògúnlákáyé máa wọlé pa wọ́n sínú ẹ̀mí until they come out with the truth that ìyà ń jẹ mí, ìyà ń jẹ̀wọ́, àsìkò tó, ilé tó lọ. Julian Assange told America that I will not touch that territory until I return back home. Ǹjẹ́ wọ́n nísìn tó bá ní kó wá gba ilé nísìn, wọ́n ní kó travel o, kọ́kọ́ fún ẹ ní ilé, ǹjẹ́ ò ní tà wá? Because that is exactly what some of you are waiting for. To sell us out for peanuts. And you lushi. Julian Assange paid the price for freedom. Torí pé ó sọ òtítọ́. Ó ń jáde, ó ń sọ òtítọ́ lẹ́nu. ó gbé òtítọ́ jáde, òtítọ́ yẹn wá di tí wọ́n wá lè mú títí ó há sínú embassy for years ní London níbí báyìí. Nígbà tó wá tún wá padà mú mọ́nu embassy tó di ìjà rẹpẹtẹ back and forth ni wọ́n fi lọ sí court. America fẹ́ extradite padà lọ sí US ni, but àwọn tó dúró tì í tọ́rọ̀ àgbà tí tọ́rọ̀ gbò tí whatever that means in Yoruba to you, tọ́rọ̀ and the hawk pé sẹ́ kàkà kí Julian Assange lọ sí America ibi bàlá láti ṣẹjọ́ yẹn. He has arrived back in Australia as a free man today. Ìwọ tó ń bi mí pé Koiki ìjọ la máa gba Yorùbá nation, are you sure you want freedom? Or you are just coming online and say Yoruba nation not going back? What role are you going to play? What role are you ready to sacrifice so that that freedom will come true? So you can see why some of you does not understand what the word means entirely. America ló ń bá jà. America tó ń bá jà yẹn wọ́n ní gbogbo resources, but ó sì gain freedom ẹ̀. Even whatever plea bargain tó bá wà, but according to tí mo gbọ́ gbogbo 17 count charges tó gbélé lórí ó ní òun accept yẹn. Yes, òun accept pé òun gba materials lọ́wọ́ sójà America tó gbélé lọ́wọ́ pé àṣírí rèé lọ jù síta, ó ní òun accept yẹn, but òun accept pé òun lòun hack computer yín. Ó jókòó nísìn, instead of you to be looking at kí lèmi náà lè ṣe tó máa dùn gọ́ọ̀mẹ̀ntì Nàìjíríà, torí ìdí àwọn àṣírí ó ń dùn wọ́n bí egbò. If they have the means, ó yẹ kọ́rán spyware sínú system mi báyìí kó shut gbogbo ẹ̀ down kí má bàa rí ohun yẹn gbé jáde, but they can't. And that is why some of you want us to come on. Ẹ̀mọ̀ kí ta bá ti wálé báwa ṣe ń sọ̀rọ̀ àní lè sọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀. I don't expect our medias at home to communicate like this because of their safety. Torí ẹ máa rán àwọn èèyàn, ìwọ tó ń wò wọ́n yẹn náà ló máa sọ pé kí ló máa tó ń gbé. Torí pọ̀ ti fún ẹ ní 100,000 naira ó lò sí. Do you know? Ǹjẹ́ mọ̀? Ta ló mọ ìtọ́ fi chapter private jet tó gbé Julian Assange láti London dé gbogbo ibi tó lọ tó fi dé ìlú ẹ̀ padà? Ẹ ní ṣoríire ẹ̀yin tẹ́ fẹ́ tà wá dànù for peanuts. Private aircraft tó ń pè ní private jet tó gbé Julian Assange láti Stansted Airport cost him $500,000. bí ṣe bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí wọ́n ti raise £320,000 padà fún pé owó tó fi gbé private jet yẹn àwa mẹ̀kúnnù máa san fún ẹ padà. Èèyàn mélòó ló máa support Yorùbá nation àbẹ́kọ̀ máa wò pé kí ìran wa kó parẹ́, when we should be out there preparing every goddamn thing to exit that shit hole country tó ń pè Nàìjíríà. Àtàwọn tèmi àtàwọn ọmọ tiẹ̀ tó wà nílé àti tó wà ní abroad wọ́n máa jìyà kú ní. Gbogbo ni mo fi sọ ọmọ tèmi ló ń dáná yẹn wọ́n máa jìyà kú ní. Àfi tá a bá dìde tá a béèrè fẹ́tọ̀ wa ká shut down Nigeria as quickly as possible. Gbogbo àwọn ọmọ yẹn tó ní British passport wá sunkún nígbà míì ẹ máa béèrè pé kí ló ń pa wọ́n lẹ́kún wọn ò ní lè sọ fún ẹ. Torí pé some of you ẹ rò pé passport ọwọ́ wọn yẹn ó ní value. They will tell them that that passport is nothing. Nígbà tásìkò bá tó. $500,000 ni wọ́n fi charter jet tó gbé Julian Assange bí wọ́n ṣe ń release ẹ̀ ní court báyìí wọ́n gbé lọ straight sí airport, láti airport ní plane yẹn gbéra kò tún padà sínú London mọ́, ó ti di Australia, ó ti di free man. Níjọ́ wo ló fẹ́ gba freedom? Ó kù sẹ́mi àti ẹ lọ́wọ́ àfi tá a bá ń ṣeré àìtí ready, tá a bá ready àgbà freedom, a ṣe ṣeré ni àìfi gba freedom. Ẹ dáwọ́ fún Koikimedia, ó máa fi jẹ gúgúrú ni o, ẹ má dáwọ́ fún o. Àìtí fi gba freedom, a ṣe ṣeré ni, a ṣe ṣe kí ni, à ń ṣe press up lọ́wọ́. Let's continue. After enduring nearly 14 years of arbitrary detention, òyìnbó ńláńláńlá in the UK, 5 years in the maximum security prison for his groundbreaking publishing war with WikiLeaks, Julian Assange has arrived home in Australian soil. Ǹjẹ́ o fẹ́ jẹ́ ká dé orílẹ̀-èdè Yorùbá àbí kí báǹkì máa nù ẹ́ lẹ́gba látara pé wọ́n disrespect ẹ kọ́lọ́pàá máa dá yín dúró? Gbogbo tó jẹ́ kó wáyé ní 21st century ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ nílùú olórí burúkú tẹ̀ ń pè Nàìjíríà òfò yẹn. That is why you will all die if you do not allow us to be free. They were monitoring him. Wọ́n make sure pé wọ́n lọ gbé sínú aircraft tó máa di pé wọ́n intercept pé aircraft yẹn ó rán lò lépo á lọ jábọ́ sí Amẹ́ríkà. Wọ́n mọ tí Amẹ́ríkà lè ṣe. Ó wá sọ Yorùbá nation ká sọ the movie. Koiki ń bola bá ṣẹ́dé náà bàbá ẹ̀ ni máa sọ ibi tó bá ṣẹ́dé fún ẹ̀ ó lò sí yan máa lò. Ẹ sọ Yorùbá nation. Àwọn tó charter flight fún Julian Assange ẹ rò pé wọ́n mọ tó ń ṣe ni? Wọ́n mọ tó ń ṣe. Wọ́n mọ̀ pé Amẹ́ríkà sì lè fẹ́ ṣe màkúrú lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ kan. Even though dialogue negotiation gbogbo ẹ̀ ti lọ síbi tó yẹ kó lọ. Ó ní lóòótọ́ òun ò ní dé Washington DC but òun ò mind láti dé US territory ibẹ̀ ló ń pè ní Sapien. So private jet yẹn gbéra láti Bangkok mo fi rántí. There was a refuel in Bangkok. Wọ́n dẹ̀ máa tún sọ fún wọn ní Bangkok pé ìkọ̀kan gbọ́dọ̀ dá aircraft yẹn dúró. Tẹ́ bá ti ń refuel ẹ̀ ó gbọ́dọ̀ gbéra padà ní ó kàn fẹ́ refuel ní kó máa lọ ní. Tí ìkọ̀kan bá dá dúró pẹ́rẹ́ wàhálà ń bọ̀. Mo sọ fún àwọn olóṣèlú ẹ má jẹ́ kó débi tí a ṣe máa wá jágbe mọ́ra wa. Ẹ jẹ́ ká sọ̀rọ̀ yìí kájọ jókòó bọ́kẹ́ máa sọ pé kò sí kankan tá a máa ṣe mẹ́wàá ń bọ̀ tá a lè ṣe wàláhì tàláhì símọ́ bíi láìláì síláhùwà torí pé kò ń ṣe gbogbo wa bọ̀ àwa díẹ̀ náà la need. But it has cost Julian Assange money. Nídòwó Yorùbá nation bá ń ṣe wà nídòwó tẹ́ ẹ̀ bá nídòwó ṣe Yorùbá nation a kàn ń ṣeré ni. $500,000 was used to charter aircraft yẹn ó ń prepare fún ni bó ṣe ń gbé dé airport báyìí ó gbéra lẹ́sẹ̀kẹsẹ̀ ni wọ́n gbọ́dọ̀ tún ó tilẹ̀kùn ni máa lọ má tún wẹ̀yìn mọ́. bọ̀ tó bá já wa la ní ẹja charter aircraft fún Ìgbòho ṣá wọ́n tuntun dé o owó a máa jọ wá lójú. Ẹni tó sacrifice ayé ẹ̀ fún gbogbo àgbáyé fún òtítọ́ tó sọ pé Amẹ́ríkà àwọn kọ̀ọ̀kan wà tẹ́ ṣe tí ó wà lọ́wọ́ wa tàdé release síta lábẹ́ Wikileaks ní 2010 òun ló fa wàhálà fún báyìí ṣe mọ̀ pé jẹ́jẹ́ ní Ìgbòho jókòó tó ń bá yí ẹ̀ lọ ṣèbí jẹ́jẹ́ ló jókòó àwa la lọ pé olóyè gbọ́ pé wọ́n pààyàn ní gọ̀ọ̀gan ni ta ni ó ṣẹ̀dí láti Germany ni ó dẹ̀ kọlà bíi mẹ́ta báyìí wọ́n pa ni irọ́ o kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ láti bo síbo tèmi wà nílùú yìí kí la fi san orí wo la fi san Ìgbòho àti wọn gbọ́ táwọn kan ní ṣèbọ́ ti fún lówó ṣèbọ́ ti ṣe kinní kan. Let's go. I can see the smile on Julian Assange. Nínú private jet yẹn wọ́n take àwọn pictures kankan òun wo cloud pé cloud lòun rí báyìí after 14 years tó stockers in the UK. Do you know how much they've actually raised from him as at right now? Sherry, that is the amount of money what he raised from Julian Assange. We found to on YouTube now. Can you see it? Julian Assange, they've raised £369,000. 278 ní owó tó ti fún Julian Assange as at right now. £369,000. This was him inside that aircraft. Máa sọ pé make her dey play, no problem. Ọ̀bẹ̀lẹ́dùnmọ́ á fi ṣẹ̀ṣọ̀ gbogbo wa. Free Julian Assange. Free Julian Assange. Urgent emergency appeal donation to cover massive cost of the jet and recovery. They needed £520,000 as a target. As at less than 26 days, do you know how many people paid into this amount? Kò ń ṣèrò la nídìí, a kò ní àwọn tó wà dedicated pé intent ṣe lóòótọ́, a rí pé lóòtítọ́ ni, kò ń ṣe pé tẹ́tí máa béèrè pé kí lẹ máa fowó ṣe. That is the problem táwọn ní nìyẹn, because àti ìmọ̀ wa ó ti wà too much. Ìmọ̀ yẹn òun ló jẹ́ kí wọ́n wọlé sí gbogbo wa lára. Òun ló jẹ́ kí wọ́n wọlé sí gbogbo wa lára. Urgent emergency appeal for donation to cover massive cost of the jet and recovery. Their target is £520,000, not 520, £520,000 ni owó tó need. Bí ṣe ń bá yín sọ̀rọ̀ lẹ́nìí 7,682 supporter wọ́n ti fún ní 278 pounds. Tó bá já wa nísìn ẹ̀ẹ́dẹ̀ fún wa lówó to you kí la fi fún wa lówó fún, but it's okay. Julian Assange has embarked on a flight VJT 199 to Sapien. Sapien yẹn ni wọ́n ti lọ ṣe court appearance. Yes, he needed to appear in the court, but in a US territory. Ó dẹ̀ ní agreement yẹn ni pé kò ní dé Washington DC. So Sapien is another US territory. We can talk about Sapien, a little bit if we want, just to explore. You know, Gbori, the first time to Mambo. Sapien is the largest of the northern Marina Island, a US Commonwealth in the Western Pacific. It is characterized by sandy shores and mountains landscape and has several championship golf courses. Mo wá population wọn ni o. Gbogbo population wọn ni mo fẹ́ wá. Gbogbo àwọn tó ń gbé níbẹ̀. Let's type population. Sapien country population 43,000. If you can find your way down there, I wish. Osumo, Australia. Níbi tí Julian Assange lọ. So part of the agreement, part of the dialogue, the negotiation was that Julian Assange must appear in the court, the US court, but not in the United States of America, ni Washington DC or whatever. So he ended up in Sapien, but they took a private jet right from London, a refuel in Bangkok, from Bangkok straight to Sapien, from Sapien, Otide, Australia, is now a free man. Do you want to be free? Only question, Timon, or we are just joking. We are free. The population of Sapien, its people who have been United States citizens since 1980. Sapien is the largest island and the capital of the northern Marina Island, a territory of the United States in the Western Pacific Ocean. According to the 2020 estimated by the United States Census Bureau, the population of Sapien, spelled SAIPAN, Sarah Alpha India Papa Alpha November, was 43,385. Its people have been United States citizens since 1980. Let's go back. So, if all goes well, it will bring to him freedom in Australia, which he has already. But the flight comes at enormous cost. Julian will owe $520,000, which is obligated to pay back to the Australian government for the charter flight to Sapien and onward to Australia, where he has finally got to his family. In addition, and after 14 years of detention, including 5 years in a maximum security prison, Julian Assange felt his dire need of recovery. we are launching an emergency appeal to seek donation to help him cover the flight debt and substantial fund to ensure his recovery and well-being and safety upon his arrival. Every contribution counts. And as I speak to us right now, the donation is still going in. You know why? Because it's speaking the truth. But let's leave the monetary aspect. Ǹjẹ́ ntí Julian Assange ń jà fún ǹjọ́ lẹ́tọ̀ọ́, whether he's fighting for Muslim, whether he's fighting for Christian, Buddhist, traditionalist, whatever, is fighting for humanity. And when you fight for humanity, it takes a lot of sacrifice. And that is the reason why this particular program that ends very soon is dedicated to Julian Assange for not disappointing people like us that are journalists to have sold out. He could have sold out, but he refused to. He paid the price. The price was heavy. The price was very, very heavy. It has cost him a lot, but eventually we can say that he has become a free man. And one thing is, fún gbogbo àwa tó kù, kí n sọ èdè tiwa fún ìwọ̀nba díẹ̀ tó kù tá a máa fi parí ètò. Ẹ má ẹ ká rò pé a lè ṣe the same thing náà láti fi gbàrà wá sílẹ̀. Ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ń bẹ tí a lè ṣe tó pọ̀ láti fi gbàrà wá sílẹ̀. Kò ń ṣe pé láti lọ gbébọn láti dàlúrú ràǹsọ, but ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan ń bẹ tó wà tá lè ṣe ní ìmọ̀, ní kọ̀rọ̀ àti ní gbangba. Èyí tí ìwọ bá rò lọ́kàn pé o lè ṣe, pé kí ìran Yorùbá kó má bàa di tí a máa sọ pé a ti wá sí ayé rí, torí pé ilẹ̀ yẹn, ilẹ̀ Yorùbá yẹn, nǹkan ń bẹ tó wà nínú ẹ̀ tó wà ní gọ̀lọ̀lọ̀ gbogbo àwọn olè àtàwọn tó wà lẹ́gbẹ̀ẹ́ wa àtàwọn tó wà lọ́nà jíjìn tó jẹ́ pé wọ́n fẹ́ gbà lọ́wọ́ wa. Àwa la máa wá sọ pé àwa la ní bíbà ibi tó rí sùn dá sáwà lélẹ̀, ibi tó rí sùn wa tó dá wa sílẹ̀ ànígbà. Gbogbo tó bá gbà pátápátá tó lúkàlùkù bá lè ṣe. Bó tó bá sì rò lọ́kàn pé ìlú tó ń pè ní Nàìjíríà yẹn ó ní àṣeyọrí kankan tó fẹ́ ṣe fún wa, kò ní àṣeyọrí kankan mọ́ tó fẹ́ ṣe. Gbogbo tó lè ṣe pátápátá náà ló ti try. Ó dẹ̀ ti tó alóbàtà òṣèké nìkan ni kò lúkàlùkù máa lọ. Àjọṣe wa pẹ̀lú Nàìjíríà kò dán mọ́rán mọ́, kò lúkàlùkù máa bá tiẹ̀ lọ. Tàbá dá dúró, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ìní tẹ́ ń sọ pé jíjẹ múmu wa á máa ní wá lára, ẹ̀jà pẹ̀lẹ́.
We are live now at ọjà ọ̀dàn ní express ọjà ọ̀dàn lọ sí Wùnbẹ́. Òun la ti ń ṣe láìfù yìí. Ṣáàkiri wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé wa wípé tòmátò Yorùbá ni àwọn Fúlàní máa wá rà lọ́wọ́ àwọn máa lọ́ tún tà. Gbogbo wa tó ń sọ wípé ẹ ti rí.
Wọ́n jẹ́ kó yé mi pé 3,500 4,000 làwọn máa ń ta ọ̀rẹ́ tó wọ́n fẹ́ rà ní ìkòyí lọ́dọ̀ wa. 10,000 40,000 ìgbà ní ìta.
Ṣé ń gbọ́? Àwọn fún Haúsá yìí máa rà ní 3,000 4,000. Bọ̀tẹ́ bá fẹ́ lọ rà ní my 12 báyìí. Apẹ̀rẹ̀ tẹ́ ń wo ilé ọmọ máa tàbí ní 14,000 8,000. Àwọn ìdílé ní gbogbo àwọn nǹkan yìí o. According to gbogbo nǹkan tó ń sọ́ọ̀sì. Ṣé ń gbọ́? Ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ní a lè dáko, a lè ṣàgbẹ̀. Ẹ máa bá ń ṣe ẹ̀. Ẹgbọ́.
Ọ̀rọ̀ bá kiri pé a fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lórí iyán àgbẹ̀ lórí Yorùbá lónìí.
Ṣé ń gbọ́?
so tábà fẹ́ sí ipá kí ṣe kankan kan àgbẹ̀ ló ní lọ́wọ́.
ṣé ń gbọ́.
so tọ́ba yẹ pé nípa ọ̀rọ̀ alákadé àwa la ní.
ṣé ń gbọ́.
so
àwọn tó lórí kankan tó ń ṣe wọ́n ẹ jẹ́ kó máa lọ kó ní kálukú dá wà lọ́tọ̀ọ̀tọ̀. ẹ ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀. ẹ ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀. ẹ máa bá wa ṣí ẹ̀ kẹ́ máa bá wa láì love share ẹ máa bá wa.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan tó wà tí a lè ṣe fúnra wa a nídìí Nàìjíríà àsìkò tó ilé tó lọ àjọṣepọ̀ wa àti Nàìjíríà ó ti mẹ́hẹ̀ kólúkálukú kó máa bá tiẹ̀ lọ èyí tá a ṣe pẹ̀lú Nàìjíríà ó tó gẹ́.
àwọn ọmọ wa tí wọ́n ní iṣẹ́ dáadáa lọ́wọ́ tó jẹ́ pé inú wa sì dùn wípé ọlọ́run kù ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ wọn ti bá ọmọ wọn dá májẹ̀mú wípé ní agbára ọlọ́run by 2080 òmìnira máa dé sílẹ̀ káàkiri.
So bí a ti ṣe ń sọ lọ kó tó di pé a máa mú ètò náà wá sí ìsàlẹ̀ ó ní pé ẹ jẹ́ ká bára wa sòtítọ́ ọ̀rọ̀ Nàìjíríà níbi tó délé ní ó ti mẹ́hẹ̀ ẹ má yẹ kéèyàn kankan tún parọ́ kan fún wa pé àṣeyọrí kan ń bẹ nínú Nàìjíríà tí ó ń bọ̀ gbogbo tó ń lọ lọ́wọ́lọ́wọ́ lénìí ní ti láburú tó ń ṣẹlẹ̀ gbogbo ohun tó ń lọ yẹn kò ní tán mo fẹ́ ká gbọ́ fídíò yìí mo sì máa ṣe àlàyé lé lórí dáadáa nígbà tí bá máa ṣe ètò níjọ́ míì torí àsìkò kò sí mọ́ fún mi nísìnyí. Sultan of Sokoto níbi tó ti ṣèpàdé kan ní ó dìjẹ́ta lẹ́nìí gbogbo ẹni tí ó bá gbọ́ èyí tí Sultan of Sokoto sọ Sultan of Sokoto jẹ́ kó yé wa pé àwọn Fúlàní àtàwọn terrorist kò sí ibi kankan tó ń lọ o. Ó máa take decades. A decade is 10 years. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Tó bá wá fi sí lẹ́yìn bóyá 20 years ló ń sọ ní o bóyá 30 years ló ń sọ ní o bóyá 40 years ló ń sọ. This is what the Sultan of Sokoto was telling us in the video of his presentation in one of the northern criminal states that they held that security summit. I picked this up from a channel yesterday. It was actually sent to me. It's 10 minutes. Let's listen to it.
The most important video to you because it is going to reset your mind to think about where you call your country. The Northeast Governors Forum, they had a meeting about the issues of insecurity in the northern part of the country and the possible solution to it. And they invited so many people, including the Sultan of Sokoto, who is one of the speakers. Now, Sultan of Sokoto made the most or the top secret you could even think. He said something that every Nigerians must be aware of. What did he say? He said that the issue of banditry is something that they can't stop. That if at all they will stop issue of banditry, that it is going to take decades. You know the meaning of decades. 1 decade is 10 years. 2 decades is 20 years. In other words, the issue of banditry, if at all is going to stop, is going to take from 20 years upward. In other words, you guys are going to be subjected to kidnapping, banditry, perpetually. And if at all you people will escape from this banditry, it will take you people years, like 20, 30 years for you to escape. This is coming from one of the most...
We have just listened to the presenter that exposed this. Sherry, each program, everybody has what they talk about. And I did not see that, even though I heard what Shetima said. You dare not touch Sultan of Sokoto. If you do so, they will destroy the whole of Nigeria. And I have somebody that did another write-up on that. That is our beautiful sister, Dr. OLAYOMI Koiki. She said something similar to that as well. So I'm going to continue playing that video. As soon as I find the Dr. Koiki write-up on Sultan of Sokoto, I'll pause the video. Let's continue listening to that video. My name is OLAYOMI Koiki. Mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí gbogbo bí tí ẹ bá wà tí ẹ ti ń láǹfààní àti gbọ́ wa. Like I said, ẹ má bínú pé we've not mentioned names. It's just that we appreciate you. We know you're there. If you share the program, it's in the interest of everybody because more people will have the privilege to learn about the reason why Nigeria should no longer be a country.
Most respected religious leader in Nigeria, the Sultan of Sokoto. Now, take a look at this video, but don't judge him and don't blame him. He's just trying to say the truth because people who are saying the truth are rare.
I think it's important for us to tell ourselves the home truth because we must tell ourselves the whole truth. What we must do to challenge these bandits, because we all know the consequences of this banditry and insurgency on the morale and on our lives. Because it will take decades to get out of it, if at all we get out of it. Because we all know the consequences and we know the problems.
I don't think you get it. Watch the video again. No, watch this video again.
I think it's important for us to tell ourselves the home truth because we must tell ourselves the home truth. What we must do to challenge these bandits, because we all know the consequences of this banditry and insurgency on the morale and on our lives. Because it will take decades to get out of it, if at all we get out of it. Because we all know the consequences and we know the problems.
Now, in his speech, the full speech that you're about to to watch now. Sultan of Sokoto made another revelation. He said, I am on the internet now. There are so many things I can't talk on the internet space. And if I am there, I'm supposed to tell him, right on, sir, speak on. Just make the full confession. Let us know who is sponsoring them, as if I don't know. In Castina State last month, policemen arrested even House of Assembly members and so on and so forth. Can you now correlate it to see the reason why Sultan is telling you that the issue of banditry, this kidnapping that nobody is entering fan now, it is going to stay for decades. This is a serious something. Why some persons claim to be fighting for Nigeria? Why some persons claiming that they will die for Nigeria? Others are planning something in decades that you people are going to pass through. I think it is time for everyone to start advising him or herself about this nation, Nigeria. Don't expect people to advise you on what to do, and don't expect it to hear it from me, because I'm advising myself too. To even know how to speak less, because I've discovered that so many Nigerians deserve to suffer, because no matter what you speak, no matter what you tell them, that one in their mind is what they want to do. Anyway, just take time and listen to this speech by the Sultan of Sokoto.
Once more, senseless killing of innocent people yesterday. And I will pray to Almighty Allah to guide us alright in this 2-day summit, come up with proposals to not end insurgency, because you cannot end insurgency everywhere, but to bring it to the minimum that people can go about their lives without let or hindrance.
You cannot end insurgency. So in tí Sultan of Sokoto mo kàn ṣàlàyé ẹ̀ fún wa ni, in tó ń sọ ni pé tí ẹ̀yin èmi tí a bá rò pé ọ̀rọ̀ terrorist tó ń lọ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá ní Nàìjíríà ó máa tán ní èní lọ́la, ìrọ̀lẹ́ pa. It is not going to end. It is a fire to fire. They are ready to kill as many of you, and they are ready to destroy many farms.
Distinguished Excellencies, I will not forget to recognize the former president who came all the way from Daura for this program. That shows his commitment and concern too. As you know, the Westerner.
Let's just leave it, because like I said, I'm really pressed with time now. I have just about 8 minutes left. This is Dr. Koikimedia. I picked up a tweet, and it goes like this: anyone trying to depose or strip power from the Sultan of Sokoto better go and ask my 89-year-old dad. There will be serious unrest in northern Nigeria. There will be serious unrest in the northern Nigeria. And as Sultan of Sokoto in his presentation told us that those bandits that we know that they are not bandits, they are criminal terrorists, Fulani terrorists. They are not going to leave our land for decades. They will be there with us. We would have to manage them. We would have to work with them. We would even have to allow them to surrender at some point if they feel like they are tired of killing. Just like Tinubu accepted 120,000 of them to surrender. We all saw it. This is not making it up. So Sultan of Sokoto is just telling us that forget it, Tinubu, you are only there for 4 years. If I tell them, there was something else he said. Let's push the right. Do you know that the majority of the vote come from the north? But what he has not told you that the criminal British created that loophole. Do you understand what I'm saying now? Sultan ń jẹ́ kó yé wa pé ọ̀dọ̀ wọn ní ìbò tí ń pọ̀ sí tó ń jáde. If I have to play this and go over time, don't worry. Let's just push a little bit more. Mo fẹ́ kẹ́ gbọ́ látẹ̀mí gangan.
And I think it's important for us to always pray for our leaders. Most people here and those listening, because I think this is televised, most people gathered are fairly very familiar with the causes as well as the consequences of the insecurity in this part of the country for the last 1 decade or so. Reports after reports, conferences after conferences, consultations after consultations.
Hi, I'm here to tell you that
recommendations after recommendations, still question. Why are things still in the state they are today, despite the tons of money spent on procuring equipment for the services and also for the well-being of the personnel, and also what the governors have been doing to
121 people watching, just 25 people decide is more than enough for them to like this program.
bring to an end this insecurity. We need to have discussion for us to discuss and move and know how to move forward. But without given an answer to this question, we cannot go anywhere. We will come back to another conference again. We're still talking about the same issue, the same problem. I'd like to thank UNDP and other United Nations agencies and the German government for supporting this
German government. Take note of all those names.
in this beautiful hall. Very conducive to talk about issues of insecurity. But the real issues are talked outside the hall, where the people live, in the villages, in the towns, and in the markets, which I think we need to discuss here, so that the government will have a way forward in what really we all must do together to bring.
If anybody thinks that they want to end this terrorism, you are fooling yourself. Yoruba, wake up. Certainly, it will take another 50 years. Decades means years and years. 1 decade is 10 years. Only decades. It will take decades. So that means I am 40 plus. I will be closing to my 90 before we can start thinking about how we will coerce or whatever or live together with this criminal Fulani terrorist. You will not demand dagba. So ojeta kalu energy wa nisin and secure our freedom.
These problems to a minimal level. I'd like to thank you and other agencies, but I want to say, no matter how much support you give us, if we are not ready and willing to end these criminal activities, we can't succeed. We will be the ones to work for this and end these problems.
Who is going to work with these criminal northerners? Àwọn wo ló ń sọ pé kájọ ṣiṣẹ́ papọ̀? This is something that many of you need to understand, that there is an hidden agenda to kill and take away our land.
If we so desire, nobody will come from somewhere to work for us.
You hear that? Nobody's going to come from anywhere to save you, Yoruba people. We will massacre you. And if you think I'm joking, go and look at Owo massacre. Go and look at Igogma massacre. Or just look at the nearest one close to you, as many Nigerians and Yorubas included have been massacred and killed by the Fulani terrorists.
Nobody will come from moon to solve this problem.
America is not going to come and solve your problem. Julian Assange was able to solve his problem without running to America, and is now a free man today.
We must solve our problems. I'm very much pleased with this inaugural meeting of the Northwest Governors Forum to once more talk about. We have had series of conferences in the last.
Sherry baby tó wà lẹ́yìn yẹn, Sherry baby yẹn, lára wọn náà ni o. Sherry baby yẹn, I'm sure Kadira or whatever her name is. That is where they all chop from. They're all brown bastard envelope journalists. They call themselves in that shit hole country.
In the last 10, 12 years on these issues. And the last one we had in 2022 was the most instructive, I think the best way forward. But unfortunately, we could not implement anything after elections 2023 came up. Now, a year after the elections, we have this program, we have this.
I didn't want to forward it because Bobby Toti Soro Nipa, how they are the most, they got the vote more from the north.
Program today is going to discuss about what we need to do. I think it's important for us to tell ourselves the home truth, because we must tell ourselves the home truth. What we must do to challenge these bandits, because we all know the consequences of this banditry and insurgency on the morale and on our lives. But it will take decades to get out of it.
It will take decades. Egbolenwe, I am not making this up. Oh no, ma take 50 years. Kato bokuro pe lawon wahala ti a wa ninu e. So that means 50 years Tinubu will have finished, right? Tinubu ma ti ṣetán. If it's going to take 50 years, even tó bá tẹ̀ 10 years, or it's not decade, it's decades. Let's say 20 years. Tinubu will no longer be in power. Ọmọ Yorùbá. ọmọ Yorùbá tó fẹ́ parẹ́ President Tinubu máa ti ṣèjọba ẹ̀ tán ọdún 4 ni ọdún 8 ni Sultan of Sokoto sì máa wà lórí oyè as long as tó bá sì lẹ́mìí gúngún àtàláfíà. It's as simple as that. So ó ń sọ fún yín pé tẹ́ bá rò pé Tinubu wà níbẹ̀ Jagaban it will take decades ká tó parí nǹkan tó wà nílẹ̀ yìí ẹ máa sọ pé they play. I think that is how far I can go anyway, so let me come back here. He also talked about how they are the most when it comes to the populate in terms of the numbers. My name is OLAYOMI KOIKI, and I wish you the best of the day ahead. Remember that yes, nothing might be happening right now, but Nigeria is just a waiting time bomb to explode. Thank you so much, everyone that have joined us, and those of you that will be joining us later whenever we're out again. I don't have a specific time when I come out. Just follow the platform and follow the platform www.koikimediainternationalnews.com. Remember that your support is voluntary. If you do support us, it goes a long way to support this movement. And on that note, Yoruba Nation no going back. Kàgbéga fàlẹ́rì ìgbàgbọ́ bàtí bẹ̀rù kàṣiṣẹ́ ìṣọ̀kan ìkẹjẹ. Thank you so much. Bye for now. Like I said, sorry I can't mention all the names, but we say thank you all, and I'll be on whenever we are back again. For now, God bless Yoruba land. God bless the other part of the people that wants to be free. Yoruba Nation no going back.